Hey guys, what's going on? Hope you guys are all doing well and had a nice Christmas. Happy holidays. I haven't done a video in about a week, so I thought I'd just make a new video today. So we'll go over crypto. We'll go over some stock stuff, S&P, maybe DAX and the French index. We'll do some Forex, and that'll be it. So we'll just get into it. There's a pretty crazy last few weeks in the market. There was a trade on Bitcoin. There was two trades. So I'm using Keltner's. These are Keltner's. So as you can see, we pushed up high on that orange channel. That's the default channel. So if we just go back here, you can see that it stays in range pretty much, except for that one dump. That one dump there. Otherwise, you can see how it's staying in that channel, right? It's staying in that channel. And Bollinger Bands, this guy Wyckoff mode, he's like a Pine script coder. He said he uses Bollinger Bands. I usually don't use them, but I did have a look at them. I ran out of indicators, so it was on my my sister's account, because she has an account too, but she doesn't really use it. But yeah, I just checked out Bollinger Bands, and they do give some more signals. So, and you can't just use them alone, by the way. You're gonna need some kind of oscillator, momentum oscillator. I like MACD. Some people like stochastics. It just depends. There's probably some other ones. These are just the ones I use. You may be comfortable with something else, or some kind of some kind of like special made indicator, some new stuff. There's like a bunch of, well, of course TradingView won't let me add any more. But you can check out indicators, and you can just scroll through and just kind of try out different ones. For me, I usually just stick with MACD. Anyway, so we did have a short here. It was a 4-hour short. It came up high here, and we can see we did have some momentum. We came up high here on the RSI and the other shorter period indicators. We came up high, and we had some momentum. It was about 100. Well, if you would have traded the whole way to the bottom, which I wouldn't recommend, usually just to the half line. Where's the drawing panel here? So if you're using Keltner's, trying to trade all the way down there, that could be greedy. It won't get all the way down to the bottom all the time, but about halfway is usually pretty good. So either way, it was about, I think this was at like 51. Actually, let's see, when did the momentum showed us that it was like starting. You see that purple bar changed, right? This is I have a faster MACD, so you can do that with testing different numbers. The default one, once the default one started to show that it was changing momentum, that was my time, December 24th at 12 in the morning. What time did that? What was the high on that candle? 51,487. So let's just say you're buying 51.2 to 51.4. You would have made like it was over 100 pips. It's the low of 50,190. So about 100 pips more if you were on the shorter time periods, like the 5 and 15 minute. You were looking for a good price. You might have gotten a better price. You could have got more than 100 pips to the low. It was more than that. It was almost 200 pips, maybe 160 pips, between 160 and 200 pips. So if you're really holding it, and there was a couple times where it looked like it was still going up, but you have to trust yourself, and you have to know. You have to kind of trust the momentum. Again, you won't win every trade, but the goal is to, if you're good, the goal is to win like over 90%, right? That way you will be making money. Anyways, so we did. There was a trade there, and there was a long scalp as well. It was right here. You can see the momentum change. This one you might have got something there, but this, you can see the momentum change here again. Right now we're getting a little bit of a short scalp. You can see the momentum changing there. It's not actually, it's not a bad trade, but it's not coming up high. See how this one surpassed the Keltners? And Bollinger Bands, they're good too. I honestly, I ran out of space. I'd like to have them, but I just don't have any more room. And it's like 50 bucks a month US. I've paid for TradingView before. That's how I have this stuff, and I don't like how I think they're trying to take it away. You know, I don't appreciate that because I did pay for it in the past, but you know, it's just, I'm a student and it's 50 bucks a month US. Canadian, that's like it's like 65 bucks or something like that. 60 to 65 bucks just for a few indicators, which I can get on MT4 or some or other website for free. I mean, like, it's kind of stupid. Anyways, so if the TradingView people are watching that, that's what I think. I mean, it's just, you know, back in the day, you used to give us 7 indicators for free, and you slowly took that away. Like, I don't really, like, honestly, I feel like just changing from TradingView in general, just because of that, like, it's just not really, because if, like, I'm only here for indicators, I'm not here for, like, well, I'm here for the market. It's good, like, they're good price action. I mean, I don't get the update, I only get one update every second. But it's still, like, I like the community. It's nice to have the community. Otherwise, you know, I'd rather just go on other charts. Anyways, there was I mean, it's not the best long scalp because, again, it wasn't at the bottom of that channel. It wasn't the best 4-hour long scalp, but there was a scalp on with Bollinger Bands. If you pull up some Bollinger Bands, you'll see that this was touching that bottom of the band. And again, don't just assume that just because it touched the top of the band to go short. I mean, that might work. I've never really tried that. But here, look, if you would have bought there, you would have been out. You need some kind of momentum to show you that the momentum's changing. Because alone, just buying and selling the tops of the band, I mean, it might work. Even maybe, well, check out here. If you would have waited, you know, here, and you would have bought when it touched that band, you would have been out, right? So it doesn't work. That method doesn't work. You need some kind of momentum. RSI could, well, yeah, RSI would help, but you need some kind of momentum. So yeah. Anyways, we'll just talk about the day. The day we did, so that 4-hour short, let's put a line on the chart just to show you what moving average do I have on here. 200, okay. I think that's a 2. It's really only better for higher time frames. But like for here, you can see there was a spike, and there was so much of a gap here that it would go at least short for that one red. But anyways, let's see. So we'll just, okay, so I'm gonna do a line. Oh yeah, and I got a couple people asking for SHIB, DOGE, and ETH, so I'll try to do those. So where did the short actually start? Or where did the momentum come in? The momentum started when that, you won't always get it, but it won't be always spot on. You might have some, you know, momentum shifting up first. It might kind of keep going up, but it should come down, right? I mean, hopefully it would come down at least more than 90% of the time. Because a lot of people do this for their job, right? It's like a daily thing for them. It's their profession. So people make it work for them. Anyway, so on the default indicator, you can see that that's when the default momentum changed. Mine's a little bit faster. But you can see that that's where it was, and we'll shift to the daily now just to show where that's a pretty big gap. Is it really that many days? No, it can't be right. 23rd and 24th. Okay, 23rd at 1600 and 24 at 12 or 0. Okay, we'll shift to the day. I think this is just a line from another time, so I'll just delete that. Actually, click there. Okay, so that's where the short was. So as you can see, it's not the best daily short. You probably would have gotten something maybe on Bollinger Bands, but unfortunately I don't have those. I'll try to get access to my sister's account maybe next time, but if you have space or if you have room to test, maybe add some Bollinger Bands to see if this was touching the top of that channel. For here, we haven't had a really good daily short since, well, we had these ones touching. Well, when was the last good daily short? See, sometimes it can run up for a while. That's a problem, but again, it does come down here and there, like there, and there. It did come down a few times, but it won't exactly touch the middle. Sometimes it takes a while, but it does again touch that middle line. I think that line's it's similar to a 50-day exponential moving average, but it's a little different. But the last time it actually was touching that top channel was November 8th. And if you saw my idea, this one, BTC USD short scalp, that's on Codeberries, you can check it out. I did mention that we haven't been that volatile since November, so that's what I meant by that it was touching the top bands for a short. So that's what I meant volatile as in bullishly volatile, that it came up super high. So you can check that out with Bollinger Bands too. We'll go over those ideas in a sec as well. But yeah, it wasn't the best short, but again, you know, you have to trade something somehow. Sometimes you'll just have 4 hours to trade if you are trying to get into it. And it could take a while for this to get back up here, if it ever does, because that weekly and monthly are pointing down. Actually, the weeklies might get a little bit of more of a scalp. We'll talk about that, but monthly is definitely pointing down. So, you know, it might not come up there for a while, and by that time, if it does come up, that could be down there or something. You know what I mean? It could take a while. It could be several weeks before it comes back up here, or even a month or something. But anyways, we did have some daily momentum changing, going short. So it was a 4-hour trade that turned into a daily short. I mentioned that. And we'll switch to the weekly. It wasn't turning into a weekly short. I said we are getting some bullish momentum here, but we'll probably have to pass the bearish momentum first before we get to the bullish momentum. Yeah, so there was a signal last week for a little bit of a scalp. Well, actually, it was a pretty big signal. How long was it? It was like 500 pips. 520 pips, so it was a pretty big scalp. But again, it may not always come back up and touch that orange line, as you can see here as well. This one, it does, but it takes longer. But on this MACD or on these Keltners, it may not always come up and touch the center or the. It may not always come back up into the channel here, bottom to high, for a long time, right? That took several months, and this one may not be coming up high again. So what I'm saying is that weekly momentum may not be that strong to come up there. We may only be coming up to that halfway line and to continue back down. So that does look. Just because what I mean is just because this momentum is turning up doesn't mean you're going to get a huge swing like that. You could get a fake out here and a continuation, so you have to be careful. See this? You may have thought it was going to swing up and come all the way up like that, like these. Positive infinity inflections here. But it didn't. It faked out, right? It faked out there, and that could be happening here. So don't just think, oh well, it's going to cross up for sure. You have to be conservative and look at your bigger time frames if you're looking to swing that far. We'll have a look. We had a bearish momentum here on the faster MACD this month. Next month, I mean, think about that crossing back up on next month, right? Would it cross back up? Probably not. It'd probably get at least a few months. look, at least every time it's at least 2 months for a transition. Minimum. So I don't think we get a transition next month. And look at the default MACD again. We haven't crossed down for a long time. See, crossed up, crossed down on the last run. This is where we are now. Oh no, we're like here now. Let's have a look here. Where are we? We're in this stage of the correction. Oh, sorry, we're in this stage of the correction. So we're like at that point. It hasn't met those. Hasn't even met that yellow line yet. Of course it would meet that line. Please don't tell me that it's not going to, and like start calling me names. And you don't even want to read my stock tweets. Like when I said this stuff, they're like, I got like the dumbest messages you've ever heard. It was like they're so terrible sometimes. So I can't even tell you on YouTube. But anyways, the probability of that crossing down is very high. And again, MACD support is like over here, so it's way, way down there. So I do think 2022 is going to be bearish. Not just based on that, but that is a huge indicator, right? Like, think about it. Look at this, 4 hour. What happens on the 4 hour? It crosses up, it crosses down, it crosses up, it crosses down. Even if we get this, something that looks like this, it still crosses down. And with that such of a high momentum, I don't think we'd only get that. I definitely think we'd get, at least half of that. That's what I'm thinking. If we're going to say, okay, well, let's just take the probability of this many months. And we're saying, okay, well, if that to happen again, we'll probably, maybe not, we'll just take 50% of it. At least 4 months of red, and we haven't even gone down there. So it could be 7 months, 6, 7 months, right? Minimum. So I still think there's a lot for this to go down. Another indicator why I'm thinking that is because the 200-day exponential moving average, we haven't come down yet. Same idea, we've crossed up here, then we crossed, do I have to click that again? Then we crossed down. Then we crossed up. This was kind of a test here. Wasn't really making new highs, and we crossed down. It was kind of like a testing the lows here. But have a look now. Well, we came up, and we haven't crossed down yet. I'm still thinking about 18 minimum. 18's about fair, that's what I'm thinking. And if it wanted to come down and test lower, it could. But I'm thinking 18 for sure. Other people are disagreeing with me. But we will come down and come below that. We will come below the 200-day moving average, exponential moving average. So I definitely think we would break these lows here, 28. I definitely think we'd break 28 and just come down and maybe another 10k, and maybe probably get bought up at that point because the main support is down here at 19. I don't use supports in all these lines. Those are just, you don't need any of that. But there is a main support down there, so I'll just note it, that it's down there. So I do see us coming down there. I did mention that before a long time ago. Of course, it's taken a long time. Median price right now is about 37k, 37.5. And the bottom of that orange channel is about at 18, so it's about right. So I do think we're still coming down. It's the same idea for ETH, so if the guy who was asking about ETH, same idea. Where's the moving average? So moving average is at 1, it's above 1k. It's at 13, I believe, just below it, or just at 13. So I'd say we'd come below it probably about 900 bucks or less. I don't think too much more or less, but maybe 800, 700. I think anywhere from 700, 900 bucks. That's where I would reload if I were you. I would definitely wait for this to come down, especially with ETH 2.0 coming out. You won't be able to mine Ethereum anymore. So definitely wait. We haven't been down below to that weekly channel in a while. We will get there, but we haven't been down there. That's about at where we said. That's 1K is where that orange bottom of that channel is, right? And it can move down too. So it was here and come down a little bit. So it kind of averages out to about where it is, if it moved up and then down. So that support is again at this line here. I mentioned this stuff before, but hopefully that helps you out. ETH was kind of following Bitcoin, same idea. It had the short, same short, and then it had a little bit of the long scalp. Weekly, it was giving a little bit, and it was hardly giving a signal. A little bit of a signal, not as much momentum as Bitcoin on that one. We haven't been down to below that channel in a while. Does Bitcoin look like that? Bitcoin actually came lower before. That's probably why it came up higher, because we got to the kind of the lower band of that channel. And if you notice ETH, it hasn't come down there yet, so that's probably why it's showing less of momentum down. DOGE, it's even worse than both of them, I believe. Futures, yes, I was looking at futures. S&P, oh yeah, there's a short on S&P, so we'll go over that. Most likely a short. DOGE USD, not sure what the good. This is the good one. Okay, so we'll check this one out. So that's the weekly. So this one's pretty bad, to be honest. I'm thinking about a cent, just below a cent. For the guy who was asking, I apologize if you're long. It was a kind of a pump and dump, this one. You can tell Elon made a lot of money and just pulled out. He's just a dick, right? That's he made his money and he's out. His advisor or whatever's told him to pull the plug. You can see how strong that momentum was, that it came above like a standard deviation of this times like 8 of the default. So it was very, very strong volatility. You can get the same thing with Bollinger Bands, but it's very volatile. Might even be 10, I'm not sure. It was definitely above 8. I think that one was, this is standard deviation 8, that last channel. It looks like it's hitting 12. I've never seen something that volatile on a monthly. See, look, I don't think Bitcoin or Ethereum was that volatile. Yeah, it wasn't. It just barely got out of 8 to 10 or something. You could see that DOGE is gigantically sold out at 75, so I most definitely come down to that orange channel, the bottom one, and at that point it'd come up a little bit by the time we get down, so it'd probably average out to about a cent, maybe just below a cent, and it'd probably get bought up pretty quickly at that point and start trading again. That's how it's going to go. I'm sorry if you're long here. It could take a while to get back up there, maybe another year or longer. Probably a year, because how many months, what did that take? 6 months, maybe another 6 months down and another 6 months for the next breakup. So probably a year you're going to get stuck, but don't worry, you will eventually make money off that. So just if you bought here, just hold it, don't sell it, just hold it and just wait it out. What else did you wanted to know about SHIB? For the guy who was asking about SHIB, which one is the, I think it's this one. SHIB, there's no data for monthly. I've gone over this before. I just hold it. I mean, if it comes down to, if it comes down here, it would get bought up pretty quickly. I mean, there's not too much of a gap here. It's only half of what it is now. Weekly's moving up, I think. Weekly had some momentum up. I don't know how long it's gonna last. We could see that RSI come down, but I'm sure it'd get bought up pretty quickly. Like look how fast that moved from. That was a 10x in how long, right? Think about how the smart people out there think about how fast they're gonna buy it when it comes down for another 10x, and once it breaks here for like 100x. So just think about it. you saw all those news articles about whales buying however many billion of SHIB. And there's another article, 211 million SHIB to be burned, so they're burning it. Whale adds 53 billion, well, however much that costs. Probably, at least a million or some hundreds of million. So a lot of whales are buying it, no one's really saying it. A lot of people are like, oh, SHIB's unless they're just saying, oh, SHIB's a scam, and they just want to lie to you and buy it, so you don't buy it. I mean, maybe there's people out there like that. But just have a look at these news articles. I mean, I just looking at this first time, and like 2 weeks ago, like every week I just look and it says like SHIB whale buys like however billion tokens. They're burning tokens, and SHIB whales are buying tokens. So think about that. You don't even need to think anymore. It's already done for you, right? So I'd see this moving higher for the guy asking about SHIB. Maybe not now. Maybe it declines until the spring and then comes back up. Worst case, here's a worst case. Comes down here. Trades sideways for another few months. And then, or it waits till the next run. And then bam, you're gonna get like 1000x on this, I'm telling you, so just hold it. It could take like 5 to 10 years for that much, but just hold it. It definitely is moving up fast. That guy that created Ethereum, I know he buys it and sells it. I guess because it runs on his network. But if you bought it, don't sell it, just hold it. So hopefully that answers your question. And you can see we're getting some info on this default MACD. You can see that we have a gap to the yellow line, so we'll probably get a swing at some point pretty soon. Maybe even sooner than we thought. Maybe within the next like 8 weeks we'll see a swing back up, because there's a gap there. So we'll connect with that yellow line at some other point. It would have to meet with that yellow line again at some later time in the future. So hopefully that helps you. Let's talk about the short on S&P. SPY or is SPX? I don't know the exact ticker. Okay, what happened to the chart here? So there's a 4-hour, might turn into a daily. There's a bit of a short here. Could we get all the way down here? Maybe. Could we get down there at least 50, 75 points or more? Probably. So the 4-hour looks like that. We did drift above the 200-day moving average on the 4-hour, kind of in range with this line here. People are like, oh yeah, well it's gonna go up. Well, wow, what a genius, he thinks the S&P is gonna go up, right? Guy's so smart. Besides for what, having how long of a decline? 6 months. So you could get stuck again for a while. Anyways, we'll just check the daily here. So we are coming up a little bit high on the shorter period indicators. It could turn into a daily short. We are at the top of that channel. So it is possible for us to come back down here. So it is possible. There is momentum going down. I wouldn't expect it to come all the way up to the top, and I wouldn't expect it to come all the way to the bottom, because again you could get stuck for a little while here. I think there actually was a trade there, and it would have been a losing one. But I think if you add up all the trades for that quarter, you would have had like 10 wins and 1 loss, so you would have been very profitable anyways. But yeah, you won't win every one. The goal is to win more than 90% of them. But it would happen sometimes where you may get caught, and usually sometimes you can it'll come up break even anyways. But there is momentum here. And where was I talking about? I was talking about this one, that the momentum did. RSI wasn't all the way overbought yet for the 4 hour. So it kind of diverged first, and that can happen. But there was a signal, and it went up a little bit. By the time it kind of got back down to oversold, it was a little bit higher, unfortunately. So that can happen. So that may happen. And again, you could have used your daily, because if you were just using the 4 hour there, you would have got caught. But so let me just show an example of what can happen in a bad situation. So let's just say you wanted to, let's see, kind of maybe start going short here, right there. So let's check the daily. So again, you got to use all time frames. That's just going off the daily. So you would have seen, okay, well, daily shorter period indicators are overbought. If you would have waited for the daily momentum to change, still you would have, what is that, open at 4524. You would have held it for a while, a couple days at least. Probably you could have, you maybe would have broken even if you were trading off the daily. If you're trading off the 4 hour, you might have taken a little bit of a loss there. Or you could have waited till it got overbought. That's what usually you do. But again, it may not get overbought, and for it to get overbought could take 6 months, right? So that could happen as well. But again, we did have a short at that point once it was in the overbought, and then it left the overbought territory. And it has been going short since, or at least to there. Still short from there. If we go to the weekly, well, at that point we did have some, we did have some momentum heading up. So like as you can see on the MACDs, we had some momentum heading up. So that it was there. We can see there was crossing there. Shorter period indicators were overbought. So maybe that's why, we were looking for a short, but we could see we did have some momentum heading up. So perhaps if you're looking from a weekly perspective, it wouldn't have been perfect, because, well, would I really want to go short if it's crossing like that? Probably not. But it's similar to right now, it could just dump here, so it's up to you. Usually 4 hour trades, they could work. The 1 month, again, it was also overbought, so that can happen time to time. And again, this is S&P, so it usually just goes up anyways. So it's so yeah, hopefully. And anyways, other than that one time, I think I look back like 6 months, and that was the only loss here. Even if you were, trying to, let's see, this one, where was I just looking? So we're looking for top of the channel as a short, and bottom to long. So if you would have went short here, then you would have got something. But if you waited for the shorter period indicators to get oversold, it would have been about the same, maybe more than that. So that's what happens if you're going to be too greedy. That can also happen. But from that point, let's see this one here. There's some there too. There was one here. That one was kind of perfect. And there was I didn't really get down below that channel until here. That was pretty good for a long. and you can kind of just go back and back test these. You can also do it through MT4, so you can just kind of go back and check, and kind of see how many were good and how many were bad, and you can test out your strategy there. You can also code it. We'll do a video on making a C+ code to help you test your algorithm in MQL4. I did a video on in MQL4. Actually, no, I didn't do a video. I wrote a script in C++ to test and a script that I wrote. Like, it's basically just an algorithm, and you can use MetaTrader to test your strategy, and it'll back test it on all the historical data. And yeah, so that may help you kind of save that. You can do it automatically. So if you have a code to kind of, if what you're doing, if you have a code for it, then you can just go back and test it. That way you don't have to go back and manually kind of just look like this, like what we're doing here. Like, yeah, that long was good, that short was good, that short was good too, that one something, pretty much good. So most of these are good. That's good. That's what you want. Came down below. Yeah, most of these are actually really good just from the 4 hour too, so you're not looking at anything else, just the 4 hour. And that's actually really good. So I think there was one loss there in October, and then we had one here in April. That's actually not too bad at all. That's like a 6-month gap, and that's being greedy, so you still would have made something here. You may not, again, you may not always get a perfect retracement down, and you'll have some momentum shifting back up. And at that point, you can decide whether you want to stay in or get out, right? So there was that one. So if that one had failed, that one kind of was something. It was basically, that one was I think it was a little bit profitable at that point. But this one, it was perfect. This one was perfect. Actually, well, there's not too much swing there. Some swing here. Yeah, so everything's good there except for 2 times, and that's 6 months. That's a 6-month gap. So you can keep going back and test it out for yourself. What else can we look at? So I do some, if I have time, I do some signals here for free, so you can check them out. I'll try to include a link in my description, so it's just my TradingView username. It's codeberries, and I do like. Can I go to my profile? Here, I'll just click it. I'll just click these. So this is one. So this is talking about the short for Monday for the S&P. You can check that out. This one was a short scalp. You can check that out as well. We had a short recap, just me talking about that I'm going to do some crypto signals here for free. Then here we have a long scalp on US Swiss. That was perfect. Euro USD short scalp. That was also perfect. I got tons of these, so you can check them out. That one is good. They're almost all good. And again, that's not going to happen all the time. There's going to be some that are bad. But yeah, you can go through these. They're all my profile. They're using different methods, so now I'm kind of trying to combine them. We did have. We'll just talk about a few more things quickly. We did have CGC Canopy Growth give us a monthly long signal, which is perfect because that's exactly what we needed. So we did get this momentum starting to shift up, And we do have kind of this leaving the oversold, coming up and staying staying neutral. So we definitely could be heading back to the top of that channel. So just watch a break. So just keep your eye on cannabis. And what else do we have here? I think pretty much just the dollar is, for the most part, kind of, it's, as you can see on the weekly, it's overbought right now. So we definitely could be heading back down, probably to that lower channel, if anything, for a continuation up, and that took the 20, December 20. It took a while, so that could take a while. We could be heading down for a long time. Maybe not, you know, maybe we'll just come halfway, but it is overbought right now. That's pretty strong. We haven't been overbought since 2018. So it is a pretty strong signal. Monthly isn't all the way overbought yet, but again, it hasn't been overbought since 2015. So just keep an eye on that, and I hope that helps. If you'd like to see more free content or any free analysis, you can subscribe to my channel on YouTube. And also for free coding videos, for free signals, you can subscribe to my trading view. And for updates, you can also check out my stock twits. So see you guys next time, and take care.